Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
I'm...
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to And I Quote, the weekly show where we introduce you to creators of all shapes and sizes that join us from many and all corners of the universe. We find out more about them by taking your questions. I am your host, Ryan of And I Quote channel, and our guest on this episode is indie writer Daniel Jones, who has a thing for hydras. And no, not Hail Hydra from the MCU. That's a completely separate thing. Daniel's in the building. Daniel, welcome in, good sir. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic, and thank you for inviting me. I'm hyped to be here.
Well, we're very happy to have you. Now, if you have any questions for Daniel Jones as we go throughout the course of this episode, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. Don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. And if you're watching this live or on the replay, we thank you so much for being with us. So, Daniel, what would you say were some of your favorite books to read growing up?
I was a Michael Crichton fan through and through, growing up as a kid. I know the first thing that comes to mind when I say Michael Crichton is going to be Jurassic Park for obvious reasons, but if I had to pick favorites, I would say Congo, Timeline, and Sphere are the ones that really inspired me a lot more.
Those are some good, man, you brought up some really good familiar titles. There are a lot of those stories have been adapted into movies, which we'll talk a little bit more about later, but what would you say were some of your favorite TV series to watch growing up?
So, being a military brat, got to move all over the world. Some things that were just all over the place. Dragon Ball was a pretty big one in the 90s, early 2000s. Heck, when we were stationed at Okinawa, Japan, my dad picked up a few of the Dragon Ball Z mangas as they were actually coming out first eds. So that was pretty awesome. They're somewhere around here.
My goodness, that's pretty cool, man. Speaking of Okinawa, Japan, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that where the events of the Karate Kid Part 2 take place? I believe it is.
I believe so, yes.
Have you seen the Karate Kid movies, I'm assuming?
Once upon a time.
You haven't seen them lately, though.
No, I definitely will have to revisit those.
Yeah, especially now that the big series known as Cobra Kai has taken over the world and it's on its final season. So I've heard good things about it. I haven't seen it personally, but I hear good things. Sweep the leg. Anyway, yes. That's an old school Karate Kid reference, but I digress. Speaking of which, what would you say are some of your favorite movies to watch growing up?
Goodness. I would definitely say that I was inspired by the classic sci-fi creature feature kind of films. King Kong, Godzilla, the black and white 50s movies where everything was giant insects. That was the kind of stuff that I grew up on.
Godzilla!
Yes.
Nothing, nothing wrong with that. Just out of curiosity, though, what do you think of the more modern day Godzilla films, whether they be from Legendary Pictures and Warner Brothers or the most recent Toho one, which was Godzilla -1? What do you think about those?
I mean, I'm in the boat of we're in an exciting time to be a Godzilla fan. We're getting all sides of it. The Legendary Pictures, they're reflective of the Showa era, and we're getting to see that in really the more modern technology that we have, so that's a lot of fun. And we're seeing Toho really pick up on some of the best of what Godzilla can be with -1 and Shin, and I'm all for it. We're getting some great stuff.
All right. We got another Godzilla. You know, I'm trying to think of what's the word? Kaiju. Kaiju fan. That's the word I was looking for. I was trying to think of it. Good good. My gosh, there's so many different terms, and there's a million Godzilla movies, which is insane.
Yes.
So, and if I'm not mistaken, Godzilla turns the big 7.5 later this year, or maybe he already has. Congratulations, Godzilla! You don't look a day over 21. So
That's a fact.
that's a long time, man. 75 years of that character. Jeez.
Yeah. And he's still going strong. And
Mhm.
almost all of his media is film based. I mean, you've got comics, you've got
The toys.
toys and such, but his big thing is films. And those are never cheap to produce.
No, not with all the visual effects work that goes into them nowadays, don't you think? It's not just a bunch of dudes in rubber suits.
No. And
Yeah.
even then, I know the quality of some of the show wasn't as high as what we would think of it, but they were pumping those things out year after year after year. That's a lot of work.
It is. It certainly is. So outside of the greatness that is Godzilla and Kaiju, what would you say are some of your favorite book to movie adaptations, other than the greatness that is life finds a way, with Jurassic Park and the criminally underrated film Congo? Or did you not like Congo at all?
I actually really enjoyed the Congo adaptation. Sphere is a tough one. That techno thriller as a book really requires kind of the more modern day technology to do correctly. I would love to see them try that again, but we'll just have to wait and see that. But adaptations, I'd have to say the Lord of the Rings trilogy is top for me.
You watching the series Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power?
I have, and I definitely respect it for what it is. It wasn't bad in my opinion.
Some people said it was better than the other spin-off series called Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. So
I can attest to that opinion.
okay, all right. Some people, that's what people have been saying on the interweb. So, and granted, I haven't seen either one of these two series, so I can't say a gosh darn thing. But I'm only speaking about what I've been told or what I hear things.
Yeah.
You know, when you're in this entertainment sphere, you tend to hear things.
Yes.
So it happens. Favorite Lord of the Rings movie?
I would have to go with the Two Towers Extended Edition.
Oh wow, that's a 6.5 hour movie, isn't it?
It feels like it, but it's worth every second.
Okay, all right. Well put, my friend. My favorite personally would be Fellowship of the Ring, but that's just because I like the introduction to all these characters and the world building, I guess.
Yeah.
I really like it. Plus, when you get what's the character's name? You get Liv Tyler on a horse, and she's got Frodo. And if you want him, come and claim it. And I'm thinking, this is Aerosmith's daughter. Like,
Yeah.
get out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just wild what people are capable of. Well done, Liv Tyler. We love you anyway. And we miss her too. We haven't seen her too much in Hollywood lately. It's sad. Ever since the events of MCU's The Incredible Hulk, she just vanished.
Yeah, it's a shame too.
It really is. She's one of those beautiful women on this planet, and she's a great actress to boot. So, you know, I don't know. Liv, if you're watching this, we hope to see you back someday. But hey, we digress. What made you decide to become a writer?
So I'm a storyteller at heart. Going as far back to being a kid, it was really a way of just kind of coping with the fact that I was moving around every few years and making new friends. One of the easiest things to do to connect with everyone is just to have fun with the imagination, tell stories, basically do whatever you could. But it was a lot of fun to just kind of see where telling stories would go as a kid. And then I started to really get into reading as time went on. And the first author that young me really followed along with was Lillian Jackson Braun and the Cat Who Done It books. For a lot of people, that's probably going way, way back to middle school days. She still pumps those things out too, which is interesting. But became older, Michael Crichton kind of took over, and everything on TV that I had access to was monsters and creatures, dinosaur documentaries, and sciencey stuff of that kind of sort. So really just kind of getting enveloped in the whole natural side of things. And that was a lot of fun. And I really started to shape my stories around that, like overpowered animals, taking inspiration from what I could see and learn about, and just kind of twist them into monsters that could give Alien and Predator run for the money.
Nothing wrong with that. They've been around for many decades now, the Alien or Predator franchises. And I think one of them is in the process of being rebooted. I think it's called Alien Romulus or something like that. I forget who was it? The one who did District 9. Or no, maybe it's a different filmmaker. I forget. But either way, aliens are coming back. Xenomorphs never really died. So
No.
Face huggers, I don't know. That's called face hugger. Well, that's another name they go by in the movies or the comics, face huggers. And when one of those things landed on it,
Nope.
it's too creepy for me, man. Too creepy. But it's you bring up Michael Crichton. Just out of curiosity, a little side note here. Were you a fan at all of the executive produced Michael Crichton TV series ER that ran for over 15 years?
So Michael Crichton, as an author, is an amazing person. But what a lot of people don't realize is what you're bringing up, that there was a point where he was a best-selling author. I think one of his movies at the same time was getting critical acclaim, Oscar nominations, and that was going on while he was writing and producing ER, which became a huge hit show. So he dominated books, film, and TV at the same time. And to my knowledge, there aren't too many other authors who have pulled that off.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, I personally like the ER. I think it's a great medical drama, and the reruns are on pop every day. If anyone still uses cable, even though most people probably don't, or maybe some of you do. I don't know. It's up to you. I'll leave that up to you. But once again, we are here with indie writer Daniel Jones on this episode of And I Quote. Don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you have any questions for him, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. If you're joining us live or on the replay, we thank you so much for being here. We just give you a number of different characters and properties for you to watch or read about, check out. Yeah, Daniel and I have long laundry lists of stuff. So nothing wrong with that. What would you say are some of the biggest rewards about being a writer?
There's a lot that I didn't see coming that comes along with this. The confidence that you earn when you start breaking into it is huge. And then as you kind of get further along into it, you start inspiring others, you start helping others along, and you take on a little bit of, not necessarily a mentorship role, but you're there to see others make their dreams come true. Being an author is not an easy thing to do, achieve, or accomplish. It is getting more accessible. Things like Kindle Direct Publishing and even Barnes & Noble Press doing direct publishing for free. You've got a whole bunch of other companies out there that will do the same thing. And it's more accessible than ever. So it really just comes down to having the perseverance and the support to get to that point. But even then, it still takes a village. So it's really fun to be part of that village.
There you go. Almost as good as being in the Shire with Frodo Baggins and all his friends. I'm going to go and finish my book.
Yes.
Bilbo Baggins. What did he turn in the first movie? Like, today's my 111th birthday. It's just, seriously? Hobbits can turn to be 111? That's ridiculous. But
and still go.
yeah, like you were saying, yeah, Daniel's right. Like you were saying, yeah, he still keeps going. It's beyond. It's some things are just beyond me. But on the flip side of the fence, though, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges about being a writer?
I would have to say how lonely it can feel at times. I mean, you're there with yourself for quite a bit of the process itself, like just sitting there hammering words out. And then if you're trying to go the traditional publishing road, that means querying agents, and that means you're going to run into a few things. The first one is rejections, and the second is silence in between rejections. And those are not fun things to deal with, because when you submit your query to agents, they may or may not have timelines on when they'll get back to you, and responses can take months and months at a time before you hear back from them. And when you're waiting 3 to 6 months for a response and it turns into a rejection, it's a process, and it's something that can be a real mental challenge. Having a support network and coping mechanisms for that are definitely something I would strongly encourage if you're going to make the attempt to go down that road. Because it was 19 months before I landed my agent. And I can tell you, the first 18 months of that were a lot rougher than even I anticipated. And I knew going into it that rejections were pervasive.
Oh my god. Well, rejection is not easy, no matter what industry you're in or what person is telling you it, or if you're trying to accomplish something and they just keep rejecting you after rejection. It takes a toll on anybody.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see where you, Daniel, are coming from, and maybe someone who may be watching or listening to this maybe coming when it comes to rejection. We've all faced it. We've all been down that road. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy challenge to overcome, but you can overcome it. You just got to keep pushing. So that actually segues into our next question, which is, what advice would you give to aspiring writers out there, Daniel?
Never give up. We face quite a few challenges regardless of which road we go. If you're going down the traditional road and you're querying agents, have that support network of people to just chit chat with and have something to be excited about that might be related to either your work directly or stuff that's similar to it. Or if you're going down the self-publishing road, use the support network that you'll find all over social media. We're not antagonistic for our industry. Indie writers will definitely support everyone else. We don't keep trade secrets or anything like that. If you want to know how to do something, you'll run into someone who has done it and will give you tips, pointers, or the whole process on, hey, here's how you go from point A to point B. So there's definitely a lot of support out there. It's just on you to persevere through it. So what I have to say is never give up. And the reason why is when you overcome all those things, it's huge. I can tell you that when you get to the point where you're ordering your first proof copy and you hold that in your hands, the actual physical book, like you're just sitting there holding this in your hands and you're looking at it, it's a tough high to describe because it's powerful. It's right up there with wedding day high. It's a huge confidence boost, unlike anything I've ever felt before. And it's worth it. It really is.
There you go. Feels like you're Godzilla. Long live the king. So
Yeah.
you're the kid. You're the cream of the crop that rises to the top. Yeah.
Yes.
So there you go. Fair enough. With that being said, I want to share something with you, and for the person who may be watching or listening to this, we're going to take a look at some things here. Hydra's Wake.
Yes.
Now, when I think of Hydra, I'm thinking of the MCU, because remember Hydra had to go up against the Avengers at one point, and they had to smash them to pieces and whatever. Yeah, that's one thing, but this is completely different. I've seen Hydras in the Hercules Disney animated film, and that's one or more or less, that's the last time I heard the word or even saw the creature Hydra. So, Hydra's Wake. How did this come about, and what is it about this story?
So, how it came about was actually a rather funny thing, and It happened when I play Magic the Gathering. That was just one of those things that I picked up playing, moving all over the world. It doesn't matter what country you go to, it's there. You'll find a place to play. And Magic players are the same everywhere. So that made making friends relatively easy when you're moving every few years. Anyways, I do play mono green hydras, or at least I did back in 2014 when this thing was starting to become a thing. And there was a random Friday night where I was playing with the deck, and my opponent and I just kind of started chit-chatting about the artwork on the Hydra, primordial Hydra, and so on. And we were like, these animals really could hold their own as like a video game boss or even a movie monster. And it was like every time we do see them, they are just dealt with in seconds. They're not really the threat that they could be. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do something about that. So I started writing this story about a really powerful Hydra that kind of has abilities that would make it a really impossible threat to overcome. So lots of ideas in the wastebasket later, and a couple things floated around a room of Magic the Gathering players, and we got the premise of Hydra's Wake down, and I turned it into a full-flown thing. So a dirigible pilot has crash landed in a remote forest, and to survive, he takes refuge in an abandoned mining town. But what he doesn't know is he was shot down by a sadistic torturer who is hunting a spy that happens to share this pilot's name. When the bad guys show up, which is pretty quick, the Hydra in the forest realizes there's people around, and carnage ensues. So what we've got here is a true to form creature feature. The Hydra is in everybody's face from the first chapter to the last. It is a whole lot of fun.
Goodness gracious, that's a big threat. It's a big challenge to overcome, I would venture to say. So, well, that sounds wonderful. Congratulations on that, by the way. And once again, we are here with indie writer Daniel Jones on this episode of And I Quote. Don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you're joining us live or on the replay, we thank you for being with us. If you have any questions for Daniel, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. Just when you thought the Hydra awakes from his itty-bitty little slumber, this one comes along. Hydra Tower. Now, am I seeing a bit of a wink and a nod to a little indie franchise called Lord of the Rings with the two towers, or a tower of some sort? How did this happen? And then what is the elevator pitch for Hydra Tower? Is it kind of like Jaws, where this time it's really, really personal?
So when I went to the artist that did that, I said, have at it. Here's what the Hydra is supposed to look like. The rest is do your thing. And this is what they came up with. So I like it. It works. So for Hydra Tower, the Kingdom of Grazen is in trouble, and it's up to 3 legendary warriors to save it. So this one is completely separated from Hydra's Wake, and the whole premise behind it is to take every fantasy trope that you've heard of and flip them on their heads.
Okay, flip things on their head. Okay, all right. So basically, it's the opposite of what would happen in the hit movie, The Neverending Story. Okay, I see where you're going with it. Jeez, that's a lot of swamps of sadness to crawl through. But
this one was really designed to just kind of poke fun at the fantasy genre as a whole, and I did it by taking the oldest archetype that I could think of, the Princess and the Dragon. And, well, since I did a Hydra story for sci-fi, I decided this is going to be the one for fantasy. And we took the dragon out, put a Hydra in there. we looked at the tower and we took the princess out. We put the prince in, and then it just kind of became this thing of, oh, let's take this trope and flip it on its head. Let's take that trope, flip it on its head. Strong women protagonists who are strong because they put in the years of training, hard work, and effort getting there, not because of some trauma or other cliche. It really treats the warriors kind of like how Dutch and his unit from the Predator are. They are badasses the moment they walk on the screen. That's what we've got here. And it really just kind of subverts the whole growth aspect of fantasy and does it in a way that so far people are really enjoying.
Well, that's awesome. Congratulations on both of these books and these stories. It's fantastic. Haven't heard the name Hydra in a long time, so I think it's time we put Hydra back on the map anyway. So,
Yeah.
well done. You're doing mankind a favor.
Yes.
That's yeah. Well done, man. Well done. Well done. So, would you like to see these two stories adapted into a Netflix or maybe a movie series, live action or animation? Which format would you want, first of all? And second of all, do you have any idea of who would you cast in certain roles?
So Hydra's Wake would definitely do better as a movie, not as a drawn-out series. The whole thing takes place in-world in less than 48 hours. It's a pretty quick, gruesome scenario. I don't quite know who would play the protagonist offhand, but I have played around with putting... I know people are tired of him, and even I am a little bit, but I would say that Chris Pratt would probably do a decent job with it if you put Nathan Fillion as the there's a neutral character in there called Hunter Smith. He starts out as a hired henchman for the antagonist, and he's smart enough to look at the situation and go, yeah, no, working for you is not worth this. I'm here to survive. And he just kind of does his own thing. But the interactions between him and the protagonist would definitely be something that I think would be hilarious to see between Chris Pratt and Nathan Fillion. That would just be funny. For an antagonist, I would want someone a little on the older side these days. Keeping in line with creature features, I would probably want to see Michael Gross in that role, even though he's not really played an antagonist. I do think that just the way he portrays, just kind of how his acting would be perfect for it. It really would be. Hydra Tower, that can definitely be drawn out into a series. The chapters feel episodic in themselves, but yeah, that could definitely be drawn out into a series. And the cast for that is surprisingly diverse. I would let a talent agent look at the roles and find the people who would do those correctly, because I honestly haven't a clue.
It's all right. Leave it to the casting directors over there in Hollywood. It's fine. No problem with that. And you mentioned Michael Gross. My gosh, the guy's been killing shriekers and graboids for over 30 years with the Tremors franchise. 7 movies he's been in, all 7 of them.
Yep.
Which is crazy to think about. And oddly enough, the original film that started all Tremors turns, I believe, 35 next year, which is insane.
Yeah.
So get ready. We'll be having an episode of Movie Watch Along for that next year in 2025. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure our good friend Austin's going to be sitting in on that panel, since it's one of his top 10 favorite movies of all time. So, it is. You're a Tremors fan.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's one of those creature features that sets itself apart because it's campy, but it's grounded in science. Like the graboid, the original idea for it when they were making Tremors was land sharks. And what they decided was that was a little goofy, so they wanted to see what they could do to make the animal realistic. how would it actually exist in our world if it was real? And that's how the graboid came to be.
I was not aware of that. That's fantastic. I did not know that. That's great. Thank you for sharing that with us, Daniel. That's cool. Now I gotta go back and watch Tremors again and look at the what would have happened if they did it this way or that way or this way or that way. That's interesting.
Oh yeah.
Well put, man. Well put. Well, look forward to revisiting Tremors here pretty soon, and then we'll revisit it once again. We'll do it next year for its 35th anniversary. That is going to be a lot of fun, for sure. So outside of these two great books you got out, have there been any special memories for you from being at events, whether you're there as a vendor or there as an attendee?
There have been countless already. Yeah, no, there's a lot of times where I've got to meet other writers that I wouldn't have known about, who do the show circuit, and really just connecting to other people who have those different experiences and such. That's probably been the biggest moment from just going out in the shows for me, aside from finding new readers that discover me, look at my material, and say, that looks refreshing. And that's always an awesome win, because dragons are everywhere. Dragons are good, but they are not original anymore. So everything I write is going to try to put a white hot spotlight on a new animal.
Nothing wrong with that. Trying to give some other creatures and whatnot their due, right?
Yes.
Give them the spotlight. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. So I do want to let you know, and the person who may be watching or listening to this, know that And I Quote is indeed powered by our good friends at Poddex. Now, Poddex are the hottest new tool for podcasters looking to have more meaningful conversations or gamify their podcast. You simply shuffle up, you ask a question, you let the content roll. You can get yours today at poddex.com and use that code Ryan10, that's RYAN 10 for 10% off your order. So check out our good friends over there at poddex.com. Poddex wants to know, Daniel, what brand or what is it, product do you buy because you feel it is trustworthy?
That is a good one. I think the brand that I assign that the most with would probably be Death Wish coffee. I go through a lot of coffee. That's what authors do. Death Wish, lots of caffeine. It tastes great. I love it.
I never heard of Death Wish coffee, to be honest. This is new for me. I'm sorry.
It's all good. They're a little on the pricier side for like a pound.
Okay.
They're starting to come down because they're getting more around and they're growing, which is nice. But back when I was introduced to them, it was like $20 for a 1 pound bag.
Jeez.
And I'm like, that's a little steep. But then you look at the caffeine content and you go, oh yeah, right. And then you take a cup of it and it's like, okay, only needed 1 cup of that. And it tasted great too. So that was really awesome.
Okay, here I was under the impression that Death Wish was just a movie with Charles Bronson, but I'm wrong. Didn't they make like 4 sequels to that nobody saw? I don't know. There's too many Death Wishes out there. But let's just stick with the coffee.
Yes.
Stick with the coffee. Don't worry about the whole Death Wish franchise that never is or never will. I don't know. I still haven't seen the original Death Wish, so who am I to talk? I know, right? I'm a little behind the times here, Daniel. But, Poddex is curious though. What is the nicest thing a stranger has ever done for you?
I would have to say there was a time when I was just having a really rough, bad day, and it got worse when my wallet was stolen, and that was pretty haptic, hellish. I didn't get my wallet back that day, but what did happen was after the police report and everything was done, I was just kind of sitting at a mall, and there was a person who overheard me talking on the phone with my parents at the time, explaining what happened, and they asked if I wanted to get something to eat on them. They actually paid for a meal for me. That was definitely something that stuck out to me for a while. I actually started paying back at drive-through lines because of that. I do that about once a month just because of that.
That's really generous of you, and that was generous of that individual. So well done, and paying it forward and being kind and generous to others is free, ladies and gentlemen. So
Yes, it is.
let's do that for other individuals, shall we? What is the most important thing to carry with you all the time?
I would say probably an open mind, energy. Energy for an open mind. That's probably the biggest thing. Like, I work at Amazon in the warehouses.
Oh boy.
I work as a problem solver in them, and that involves exactly what it sounds like, going around and solving problems, cleaning up messes. And for me, that requires just keeping an open mind on how to get through the day.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And more power to you, and more power to the individuals who work in those warehouses. And it's not an always easy thing to do. So there you go. Name something on your to-do list that never gets done.
Sleep. I definitely don't get the recommended 6 or 8 hours of sleep, whatever it is these days. That number probably changed, and I have no idea yet. But between work and being an author and being a supportive member of the writing community all over the place, like Twitter, I know for a fact I don't get enough sleep.
I think the number is actually the person should get an average of 8 hours a night. So, yeah, sorry you're struggling over there, Daniel Jones, but it's all right. You'll get there eventually.
One day. One day.
Yeah. Just stop drinking so much Death Wish coffee. That's all. Just drink decaf. No, I'm kidding. Easier said than done. Easier said than done. That's the expression. So,
Yes.
Do you have what is known as an area of your life that you are never satisfied with?
I actually don't think I do. I mean, things could definitely be better, but for me, my situation and everything that's going on, I can't complain. Life is pretty good for me right now.
Life is, that's a t-shirt and that's a catchphrase. Life is good.
Yes.
Life has been very, very good to me. So,
LG phones.
yes, I was wondering what it was, and you just told us that. So thank you very much, good sir. We appreciate you, and we also appreciate you for being here and being our guest on this episode of And I Quote. Daniel Jones, you are a gentleman and a scholar. We congratulate you on all your success, and I wish you the best with everything moving forward. Now, if someone is watching or listening to this and they want to find out more about you and where to purchase copies of your books, where can they find you on social media?
So you can find me just about all over the place. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Threads, Instagram, all under the handle Creature Author, which I believe you should see on the screen there. If you use Creature Author as one word, you can find me just about anywhere. My books are available wherever books are sold right now, on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. It pretty much wherever books are sold, you can find Hydra's Wake or Hydra Tower. I will say that the ebook, however, is exclusive to Amazon for Kindle Unlimited. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, give either one of them a try.
Splendid, good sir. Congratulations again on everything you got going on and everything that's coming up for you. We wish you the best. All the links can be found in the description below. Thank you so much, Daniel Jones. I'm going to be speaking to you here in just a moment, aka Creature Author. That's a name that's going to stick out like a sore thumb in a crowd, isn't it? Daniel Jones. My name, it's all good, man. Don't worry about it. My name is Ryan of And I Quote Channel. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Make sure you're following us on all forms of our social media at And I Quote Channel. I want to let you know that we are, our next goal is to reach 5,000 subscribers. Once we do, we're going through a great big live stream celebration that's going to include returning guests, some surprises, and special giveaways that you, our incredible fans / subscribers, are going to be eligible to win. Maybe Daniel Jones will come back and talk to us about more creature features, maybe some of his favorite movies, or maybe he'll talk more about Hydra, or I don't know. Anything's possible. Daniel, you're the man. We like you here, man. We have a support the show with a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description and in our social media bios. So definitely check those out. We also have merch. We have shirts. We have hoodies. We got stickers. We got coffee mugs, stationery, posters, all kinds of things that you, your friends, or your family will enjoy. Links are in the description. Links are in our social media bios. Also, our next stop on the Comic-Con tour is going to be Thy Geekdom Con on May 24th through the 26th in Oaks, Pennsylvania. And then after that, in the month of July, we're going to be in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, July 26th through the 28th for Shore Leave 44. So join us there. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we hope to see you there. You can take photos with me. I'll sign anything you want me to sign. It's all free. I'm not, one of the biggest names on the planet, so I'm more than happy to just hang out with you and talk some fandoms with you. Also, if you're a fan of books and you're a fan of sci-fi, saving the galaxy one glitchy robot at a time, check out our good friend Adina Mignona's The Robot Galaxy series, books 1 through 4. You can find them on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Buy directly from the author herself at adinamignona.com. Also, check out, if you want hard sci-fi meets AI intrigue, check out Lunar Logic. Once again, written by our good friend Adina Mignona. Find those books. Find that book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Buy directly from the author. Support indie authors at adinamignona.com. We'd really, really appreciate it. I'm sure she would love to hear your thoughts on the Robot Galaxy series or Lunar Logic. The Robot Galaxy series is family friendly, whereas Lunar Logic is a bit more, like I said, more hard sci-fi meets AI intrigue. But I'm sure lots of other folks could read it and enjoy it just as much as anyone else. Once again, thank you so much for being a part of this. We cannot do these shows without you. I appreciate everyone's support and yours as well. Once again, like, comment, share, subscribe, ring that bell to be notified when videos go up or they go live. We got lots of episodes of Movie Watch Along. The Nerdy Cantina is going to be coming back on Friday, June the 7th, from when Star Wars The Acolyte drops on Disney+. We'll be talking about that, all that, and more. And remember, life is better when reading and supporting indie creators of all shapes and sizes. Take a look.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Choose high-flying action. Choose death-defying escapes. Choose spine-tingling thrills. Choose nail-biting intrigue. Now's your chance to choose the adventure. The Captain Hawkland Adventures. Available on Amazon.com.
Good morning! Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.